I think for most retail brands now, it's mobile first. The strategy is mobile first. Whether you're designing a homepage or you're designing a listings page or checkout, whatever it is that you're all looking to redesign, mobile first. And I think that's the thumb rule that applies to most retailers today. Things to bear in mind, obviously, when you're on a mobile space, you're confined to a limited space. So, you will find two types of customers. Customers who are overwhelmed with a lot of choice and customers who want to be shown a lot of choice, right? And that is something you need to obviously understand from where the journey is. So making sure that your sort and filter is highly optimized, making sure your search is optimized, making sure that the view option, which is also very important when it comes to mobile.
Welcome to the E-Commerce Toolbox Expert Perspectives, a podcast by Noibu, where we explore the elite strategies and cutting-edge insights with our expert guests. Get ready to propel your e-commerce business to the next level.
Welcome to the E-Commerce Toolbox Expert's Perspective. Joining us today, we have a conversion rate specialist in Pahul Ahluwalia. She's joining us all the way over from the UK. She's currently the director of e-commerce at Apricot Clothing. She has a very interesting and ton of experience in her background. So very excited to have her today. Welcome, Pahul.
Hi, Kailin. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, I always like to start off to learn a bit more about your experience. So obviously you have been working at multiple brands at the brand level. Saw that you're also an e-commerce consultant as well for a time period. So curious to learn a bit more about your history and how you ended up heading up e-commerce at such a cool brand.
Yeah, thanks, Kailin. I've been within the e-commerce space for just under 12 years. I think e-commerce just happened to me, if I'll be honest. It wasn't the plan. It wasn't something I had planned when I was a kid. Although I always had a lot of keen interest in business as such or like entrepreneurial stuff, but not necessarily e-commerce because I guess when we were young, e-commerce wasn't a thing or anyone had ever thought of. But I always absolutely enjoyed shopping in a retail space. The whole the vibe of a retail, the energy it was always exciting for me. E-commerce happened. I was actually managing fashion accounts for a brand, an Irish brand at John Lewis, and there was an internal opportunity that came around for e-commerce, which I got through. And that was the day, and I absolutely don't regret getting through because it's so exciting to be in e-commerce. The fact that you can make a change now and see the results come through in the next second, and then follow it through to see the sales coming through the following second. So it's all so fast-paced that it's thrilling to be here. So yes, I've had a few different stints and within e-commerce, but it has given me a lot of exposure to the various areas that e-commerce contains, which from merchandising to user experience to analytics, trading and operations as such, because that is what I did when I was a child steward. Now here at Apricot, I oversee all of e-com for Apricot, and it's a really exciting space to be.
That's awesome. And like you mentioned, it's a relatively new career path for a lot of folks. Like it wasn't taught in school when I was in high school or even university. So I'm curious, what do you think one thing that you wish kind of more people knew about the field of work? As to your point, it's still relatively evolving. Even pre-COVID, teams weren't big, and now a lot of brands have a fairly large e-commerce team. So curious, what are your thoughts on that?
For somebody who doesn't really understand what online trading is within the retail space, I think there's usually two schools of thought. You'd hear people say that e-commerce is that what Amazon does. So, Amazon's obviously set a benchmark out there for people to know that you look up an item, you find it, you order it, it arrives next day. Even my 5-year-old understands that concept really well now. And then there are people who kind of see e-commerce as a set of images and people look at it and shop. And I don't think anyone, laymen or like people who don't kind of get what e-commerce, how powerful the tool is, don't understand that there's a whole journey, involved in, setting up a product to actually selling it. There are so many steps in between And I would really like people to know that it's not just photographing and uploading a product or creating a website that looks good. Because a lot of our new business entrepreneurs, they would set up a business, they would set up a website. Everyone wants to set up a website now. Everyone wants to have some sort of online presence. But what is not thought through is, how is that website going to function? How user-friendly it is going to be? How to view that website from a customer perspective and not as a brand ego. Because a lot of time brands want to set up a website because they want to look good. So they want to put up their best campaign images. And I think the story starts and ends there for them. They would like to write about them, about us, and about us or the story section, or they would like to have all of these beautiful campaign images. What they don't think through is, how are we going to actually communicate the sale to the customer? Because this website is not just about your story or how you came about. This is more than that. You wanna get a sale out of it. So I think for awareness purpose, I would like more and more people to know that online trading is way more than just having pretty images and content.
No, I think that makes sense, and that's going to really dovetail nicely into my next question, which is, obviously you've been in e-commerce, not going to say since the inception, but you've had you work definitely in the pre-COVID days, right? So you've seen how it rapidly evolved from 5 years ago to now. What do you anticipate the next 5 to 10 years? How do you anticipate the field to actually evolve, and what role do you hope to actually play in that within your career?
This has been so fast in the way it's evolved in the last few years. Obviously, pre-COVID, e-commerce was already an area where everyone had their eyes set on. Like, everyone knew that's the space they want to go into. Come COVID, somehow that is all that every business can really do. So, I think if you had something on the roadmap for the next 5 years, it was all moved into the next 2 years, and everything just started happening really, really fast for a lot of businesses. And Apricot being an example of that. So I think, retailers did not really have a choice. They had to do what they had to do in the 5-year plan into 2 years. That was the only space they could use to sell. And given the turnaround time that we've seen during COVID, I think I can safely say the next 5 years can be squished into the next 2 years, and you'll see a lot of changes come through. I think in the area of artificial intelligence, of course, that is what is being talked about everywhere. But more specifically around artificial intelligence, I think what we should know, also, we need to understand, when we say AI, it could mean multiple things on a website. It could mean, your product descriptions, which is one of your main SEO contents, could be self-explanatory or could be written for you. AI could also mean your search is optimized on the site. AI could mean that your images that you currently spend so much on could just be a matter of, a face, a model you select being pasted on the dress you're trying to sell. So it's multiple. It's a whole range of things. And I think the challenge, the boon that lies ahead of us is more around the fact of how we steer this to our advantage. Like, how will we use this to be able to not lose the human touch? Already being in the e-commerce space means you're selling through technology, you're using technology. We already face challenges where we're not able to have the customer feel the fabric. I'm speaking from a fashion retail perspective. Of course, in technology, it could mean other things. You're not going to be able to touch and feel what your new phone looks like or what your new camera looks like. You can't necessarily translate that experience through technology, right? We already have that challenge on e-com. But despite that, we try and make sure that the product description is as good as making the other person kind of imagine all of that, or like just, be able to sell. And obviously that's why you make all of the delivery and returns absolutely amazing, because you want them to be able to order it, see it at home at their convenience. If they don't like it, then return it. So, we've found our ways around these challenges. And now with AI coming through, I think, yes, you may not need as many resources as you do today. But that said, you will still need to have enough human interference to make sure that it is steered in the correct direction or steered through the right place, because AI could be as destructive as constructive. It could just spoil the product description. It could be nowhere close to what it's meant to be. It could make the product look absolutely rubbish when it's not exactly that rubbish. So those are the challenges I think we're going to have to work with. And we will see that come through really, really quickly, quicker than we would like, actually. We're already seeing, the tools that we use right now to optimize user journey. Those tools are already AI driven, whether that's product recommendations on your PDP or whether that's, your mini basket, your mini cart showing you products relevant to what you've been searching for and so on. All of that is already AI driven. So I think you times that by 10 and you will see a lot of your admin related tasks done online will be driven by AI.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. There was a story in Canada not that long ago where Air Canada, or national airlines, they were using AI chatbot and made up a policy on a refund, and they actually had to honor it. They're like, yeah, you can have a refund, and it actually created a policy. So I think you're bang on that. I think what I'm seeing too is obviously a big push in the market towards push to profitability for a lot of D2C brands. So nailing your conversion, a lot of budgets are frozen or decreasing. So I'm curious, do you have any tactical kind of examples? Obviously, you have a ton of experience and a very proven track record. Do you have any tactical examples of when you're trying to increase conversion rates on a website? Like, what are kind of some of your key playbooks that you go to actually drive higher conversion?
As a user and also as a person on the other side who sets this up, I think it's absolutely important to make sure that the customer journey is as optimized as possible. And when I say that, I think what I'm trying to say is reduce the number of clicks, reduce the time in the decision making. You do not want them to spend more than 5 or 10 minutes deciding what they need to buy, because the more time you give them to think, the weaker the decision is going to be. You want them to convert. You want to give them what they're looking for. The system, the way you set up your website should be intelligent enough to show them exactly what they're looking for. If they are driven to a certain product descriptions page, which is not what they're looking for, make sure your recommendations are set up in such a way that they offer the customer everything related to their search history. So point being that from the point that they land onto your website, which could be on a PLP, so on a listings page or on a product descriptions page, you want them to get to the next step of adding to bags fairly quickly. So if that means making sure that your product listings page also offers add to bag option for starters, to making sure that your product descriptions page, if that's where they have landed, the size guide is in their face. If they're a new customer, they haven't shopped from you before and you're trying to make an acquisition there, you want your size guide to be, absolutely easy to navigate to. You want the add to bag option easy to navigate to. You want the delivery options to be easy to, for the customer to know that this can arrive within the next 3 business days. Your product descriptions page should just not let them have the need to navigate elsewhere on the website. Because when the customer has to go back and forth, you're losing the customer. The point is you want to drive them towards the checkout, making sure that journey is as optimized as possible. When on PDP, make sure that your products that you're trying to upsell or sell along with this particular product are right there, relevant in the recommendations. I think there's some other things that you can do to optimize the journey. Again, in your mini cart, you just want to make the checkout a 2-step checkout. You shouldn't have, 2 steps is probably also a lot now. I think we're reaching a stage where you want the checkout to be a 1-page checkout. You don't want them to have to spend too much time in the checkout. Again, the more time you give them, the more time they have, they're going to probably change their mind or look elsewhere. You want to have them hooked. You want to have them there. You want to have them convert. Give them as many payment method options as possible. If you see that they're trying to navigate away from the website, have pop up that questions if they need any further assistance or support. And obviously, there'll be a chatbot operating on that. And then you put them to the right live customer service area if you can. But point being, you don't want them to navigate away. You want them to just lead to the steps where you need them to be, and reduce the number of clicks and optimize this journey as much as possible.
Makes sense. So it sounds like you're of the school of thought that the more clicks, the longer they wait, the more barriers you put between the time they land on the website and the confirmation page, effectively drop off will continue to grow.
Absolutely. That is where you'll see people bounce off or exit through the journey.
makes a ton of sense. And I agree with everything you're saying. How do you think of personalization when it comes to minimizing the amount of clicks between entry to the website and confirmation page?
I think personalization makes a huge difference. It does, because you need to make sure that your recommendations, for example, somebody new is added onto the site, they don't really know what they're looking for. They just want to browse through. So there's two things you can do. You can see what they're searching for with the type. They're looking for a black flower dress, or they're looking for paintbrush, mini dress, anything they type for. Or alternatively, you see what the journey has been. If they've navigated onto the trousers page or they've navigated to the tops page, you give them more of what they're looking for. So the algorithms you set up, you need to make sure that they are within the same search parameters of the customer's search history. So, whatever that is they're looking for, you want to make sure that they are being shown, all the possible products you possibly can within that range. Whether you navigate them to a listings page that gives them all the floral tops of the floral dresses, or you give them those options within the product descriptions pages as recommendations that come along. And you want to show them what other customers may have also shopped when they were searching for these things. That always seems to influence the decision, because if you're looking for a black floral top and customers have also bought these particular items, you're bound to navigate through those items. So I think personalization can only make it easier for a customer to be sort of manipulated in the area where you'd like them to be.
No, I love that. And as you're chatting through that, it dawned on me that over the last 3, 4, 5 years, the percentage of total traffic attributed to mobile and tablets has been steadily growing, where desktop is decreasing in a lot of cases. How are you looking at the importance of mobile optimization and mobile first design? Because in reality, a lot of those experiences look vastly different, right? If you're on your laptop or if you're on your actual phone. How do you think of that when you're kind of curating the experiences for your brand?
Well, for our brand specifically, and I think for most retail brands now, it's mobile first. The strategy is mobile first. Whether you're designing a homepage, or you're designing a listings page or checkout, whatever it is that you are looking to redesign, mobile first. And I think that's the thumb rule that applies to most retailers today. Things to bear in mind, obviously, when you're on a mobile space, you're confined to a limited space. So, you will find two types of customers who are overwhelmed with a lot of choice, and customers who want to be shown a lot of choice, right? And that is something you need to obviously understand from where the journey is. So making sure that your sort and filter is highly optimized, making sure your search is optimized, making sure that the view option, which is also very important when it comes to mobile, they have the option to view as little as 1 product per row and to as many as 5 products a row, which obviously is very confined in a mobile space, which you will find that a lot of customers who are in a rush to buy something or just want to have a quick browse through to see whether the brand contains what they're looking for, they would put the view to 5 to see 5 products in 1 row and to get to the end of the listings page in less than 3 seconds. Whereas there are people who would rather see 1 product per row because they want to be able to really see the detail of what they're seeing or enjoy that sort of experience more. So you've got to cater that to based on what the customer wants, and you want to give them that option. You want to view 1 product a row, you want to view 5 products per row. This also goes back to seeing what is the brand. For example, if it's a high-end brand, and they're not looking to sell multiples of something, they probably don't want to have the option to show 5 products in a row. They're happy to show 1 or 2 products, and then that's that. I guess it also boils down to what is that the brand would like to do. They want to show. They want to sell less in the sense that they don't want customers to be navigating through 5 products at the same time, to actually focusing on 1 product and making sure that sells through. So, yes, I think for Apricot as well as any other retailer out there, it's mobile first and making sure that you are giving your customer as many options as possible.
Yeah, I think you've definitely nailed, mobile first, minimizing the steps, giving them the option, using the recommendations to ensure the smallest amount of clicks between the time they land to the time they check out. how big is pricing and promotion in that user journey? How do you look at that? Like really balancing between setting competitive prices to drive action today, versus ensuring that you don't hurt the profitability and the margins, given that obviously you're in charge of the P&L for e-com. So if you just discounted everything by 90%, you drive sales, but at the same time, you hurt profitability. How are you thinking about that at the executive level?
Sure. So I've had two extreme experiences. I've had an experience where promotions was everything, in the sense that you've acquired a customer, whether you're trying to acquire a customer or you're trying to retain a customer, whether you're going into a cold market or you're going into a market which is an old market, you are promotions heavy. And that is your basis of converting anyone who comes to your site. I've had that sort of a retail experience where that is the strategy. So obviously this does boil down to what the retailer would like to do or use and the margins that they have, the elasticity they can offer. Where I am today at Apricot, and I love this about the space that I'm in Apricot, because for us at Apricot, the first price is the right price. We are not promotions heavy at all. We are not driving our customers to the website on the basis of a promotion. It sometimes sounds a bit ridiculous that the maximum we would offer our customers is free delivery, because we in the first place haven't overcharged our customer. And we don't want a customer to be habituated to only shopping from us when there is a promotion. You don't want that to be the case, because there is a massive risk there. If you get them used to a discount, 5 times in a month, you will only have them come visit you those 5 times of the month. Why should they be shopping from you outside of those 5 times? Because they know you are going to have a promotion. And the customer's no fool today. The customer is well aware of all the strategies that the e-com websites are applying. They're trying to navigate away from the website, or they leave things in their cart. They will get an email to say, hey, take another 10% off and get the items that you have in the basket. So I think those behaviors that we as retailers have started to exhibit to our customers have made them very confident shoppers, because now they think that they can manipulate us into giving them an offer. And I think here at Apricot, we've stood our ground. We don't keep massive margins to start with anyway. And we stick to what we offer, unless we're in the end of season sale or we are in we're selling during seasonal reductions. We don't discount, or we don't offer customers discounts randomly. Of course, when there is an acquisition or you're getting someone to sign up to your newsletter, you give them as a goodwill gesture, you offer a discount. But that is that. There is no more beyond that. You don't want them to get used to it. You don't want to offer it to them when you can't. Because for the long term, you're going to lose. You're going to lose the charm of the brand. The prices they're selling at, because they will mean nothing to the customer. They will know that this price is going to come down or be slashed down by 20% if you left the website or there was an abandoned browser or abandoned cart email coming through to you. So I think a retailer must be protective of what they're offering. But like I said at the beginning, this can vary brand to brand. Every brand has their own strategy of how they want to acquire a new customer and then they want to retain them, or how they want to reward them. So there isn't a specific right or wrong. And the price elasticity model really depends on what the brand can actually offer, has the room for. But Apricot as a brand is very protective of that area, and I think it really works for us. It's been doing well for us. We haven't had the need to do that, not through COVID, not since COVID. We have 17 stores, and even after stores have reopened, it's not like we have to drive discounts to get people to visit the website. And just sticking to the ground has made a difference. You will see that the customers will respect you for that.
Cool. I love it. I think a lot of what you said is very much resonating, very much more and more true in 2024. As we look to wrap up today, Pahul, very curious if you have any parting words of advice. Obviously, you've had an incredibly successful career so far. We have a lot of folks that are looking to get into leadership roles and head up e-com and P&L. So curious if you have any kind of parting words of wisdom for anybody listening today.
I think this is a very exciting space to be. So anyone who's considering a career in e-commerce, I think I would say a big yes. Go for it. I think it's very thrilling to be in e-commerce. The fact that you can actually trade, set up changes within seconds and see the results come through, like I said at the start of this conversation, I think that's absolutely thrilling. And to my fellow colleagues who are within this space already, I think the golden words will always be optimize, optimize, optimize as much as possible. Don't lose that sale. Don't lose that sale. Just get them to visit you. Reduce the time of them having to think through it, and blah, there you go. You get a sale.
Love it. Well, thanks again. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Kailin.
The Ecommerce Toolbox Expert Perspectives is brought to you by Noibu. To find out more about Noibu and how we can help you debug your e-commerce site and rocket your revenue, visit www.noibu.com. That's Noibu.com. And then make sure to search for the Ecommerce Toolbox Expert Perspectives on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found, and click subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. On behalf of the team here at Noibu, thanks for listening.